Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Force here, and today we'll be going over the basics of Crysis 3. This is the fourth installment in Crytek's first-person shooter franchise. The game takes place 24 years after the events of Crysis 2, here in an overgrown New York City. Now what I'm going to do in this video is cover the basics to give you guys a clear idea of what Crysis 3 is all about. And we're actually going to begin with some stealth gameplay. This is one of my favorite aspects of this game. You can really play it to the style of your choosing. You can go in guns blazing, or you can try to stay stealthy, take people out silently, use silencers and the compact bow, and all of the things like that. And again, that's what we're going to start off doing here. So first thing you're going to see me doing is I'm going to pull up my nanovision with B, and what this is going to do is with nanovision up you can clearly see nearby targets and points of interest. The coolest thing though is that by highlighting a target you're going to get detailed information and a permanent marking on your heads up display. So now even once I drop my nanovision, all of these targets around me that I'm marking, they will still be located. So this is a great way, especially if you're trying to play stealthy, of getting situational awareness of your surroundings prior to engaging in combat. Now I'm going to go over here and we'll be dropping stealth for a moment, and uh-oh, looks like people have been a little alerted, so we're going to pick stealth back up. So those little yellow icons, that means someone was alerted of my presence. That guy must have seen me de-stealth, basically, is what we're assuming here. Okay, so we've got a few guys over here. I'm going to move in silently. Now I've got a silenced weapon, so I could just go for a headshot like this and take him out. And it actually looks like no one saw that at the moment. I'm going to switch to my compact bow and then get rid of this guy, hopefully before he alerts too many guards. And actually, he already has. All those guys now are alerted. Now, they still haven't seen me. They still don't know exactly where I am, so we can continue our stealth mission here. And I do want to pick up the arrow that I lost, and I can do that. With the compact bow, the neatest thing about it for me is that you're not going to run out of ammo as long as you are always going to pick back up the arrows that you've shot. Alright, so we got a guy coming around the corner here. I'm going to ready my bow and take him out as soon as he goes within sight. There he is. And then we're going to drop our stealth to pick back up our energy. So let's quickly talk about the user interface here. Lower left hand corner is your mini-map. You're of course going to see nearby enemies, how alerted they are to you. These guys highlighted yellow means they're fairly alert. There's also that threat level as well, so that's another way of seeing basically how alert people are to you in general. And then right below the mini-map there are those little icons. If you're wondering what those are, that's basically passive skills that you have, and we're going to take a look at that system a little later on. Before we go in here though, I'm actually going to switch up weapons. And I'm going to pull up, oh, you know what, this guy's coming around the corner. So let's take him out with compact bow here. I'm going to switch weapons, and we are going to pull up the weapon customization with X. This allows you to customize your barrels and the underbarrel, as well as the scope of your weapon on the fly. Really, really neat. Really, really like this system. You can just do it whenever. You don't need to go into some special huge menu. It doesn't need to take an extraordinary amount of time here. So I'm switching to get a huge scope on this weapon, and I'm going to hit this guy from afar, and we can just get the headshot like that. Go back into stealth, let our energy recoup, and then continue this process. So yeah, I mean, I really like that, the whole being able to customize on the fly. And you can do that with every weapon in the game, with the exception of the specialty weapons, which are like the alien weapons in this game. Oh, this guy is in trouble. Oh, taking these guys out silently. So fantastic indeed. Continuing with discussion of the user interface, the lower right hand corner, you're going to see all of your weapon information, the amount of rounds that you have left in your currently equipped weapon. It also shows weapons 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 is to do a secondary for whatever weapon you're currently equipping. So some weapons have an underbarrel secondary attack, other weapons have the ability to switch firing modes, and that's what 2 is going to do for you. And then 1 is just going to switch between your 2 primary weapons. 3 will be your bow, and 4 will be any explosives, and there's also you can hit G to pull up any grenades that you currently have. We got another guy over here. We're going to pull out our compact bow. So the compact bow was the big addition here for Crysis 3. Some people were iffy about its addition. I think it's fantastic. In fact, for me, it's one of the more fun weapons to use, especially since I've spent a lot of time in this game playing stealthy. I think it's a really, really great addition. All right, now before we go any further, I'm going to go over here and we're going to pull back up our nanovision to get some situational awareness once again. So we're going to spin around here. You can see I've got a whole bunch more targets pretty nearby, and we're just going to highlight all of these just to keep them permanently on my heads-up display even once nanovision has dropped. The other thing is that if you hold on a guy, you're going to get... Oh, he's coming right here. He's got a buddy right behind him, but it doesn't really matter. Because even though he saw it, he's still gonna die, just like that. Oh, so evil, so evil. So yeah, we're taking it nice and slow here. Oh boy. Oh gosh, I just clearly exposed myself to those people. We're taking it nice and slow here for the sake of staying stealthy. Although again, I just, like I said, just clearly exposed myself. There's a lot of people, and this is actually the reason I picked this portion in the game. You know, I have finished Crysis 3, and it was good. It's definitely short. It's a very short campaign. It took me 5 hours to go through, not including any of the side missions, which I skipped a majority of. But it was still really, really fun, and I thought this was a really great point to show you guys just basic combat because of the fact that there are so many enemies and it's so wide open. I'm going to try to get a stealth kill of him, so we're going to go behind him, and then with V, get a stealth kill, and with my perk, I'm also able to stay stealth during that process. Uh-oh. I was right behind me. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Alright, so let me show you some of the additional weapon attachments here. Let me just go into a spot where I don't have to cloak to show you this. We're gonna just tuck back here. Okay, so I've got my compact bow. I also have this pistol here, as well as this weapon. Now with this weapon, we can take a look with X again. There's all the different barrel attachments you can get. The underbarrel, I've gone for the single shot as opposed to getting like a foregrip or grenade launcher. I just like to be able to shoot this type of a weapon as a single shot, especially since I'm doing it with a silencer, so I'm using it as a stealth-focused weapon. And then we currently have the long-range scope, although majority of the time I do play with the reflex sight. All of your weapon information, the current weapon that you have, details about it, as well as your attachments that you're currently selecting will be detailed right there. And then just some weapon details in terms of accuracy, rate of fire, mobility, damage, range, and stability. Let's drop this quickly, though. I want to see if anyone's nearby before we continue here. No, it looks like no one's nearby. All right, so the next weapon right here, we've currently got my pistol. Again, you can have different scopes on it. You can get a really long-range rifle laser shot, assault scope, reflex sight. We're gonna stick with that one. And then different munitions. And then the compact bow, this has got a few different options. You can choose the draw weight, which will decide if you want a fast, a low damage, a slow, heavy damage, or a middle of the road, which is the one that I've got. And then you've got your replenishable munitions right here in these carbon impact tips. Those are the ones you can pick up. And then these are ones that you can't pick up. There's one with a thermite tip, a charge tip, and an airburst frag tip. So different modifications to a few of those arrows. And again, that's just a different ammunition that you can get for the compact bow. And then once again, we also have explosives. I've got this little detonator charge and grenades that we can throw. And why don't we do some grenading action? In fact, why don't we switch it up? We've been playing stealth so far this time. I think we're going to switch it up now and go for a more action-focused gameplay, just so you can see what that is like. So we're going to switch this here to the reflex sight. We're going to remove the silencer and replace it with a muzzle brake. And why don't we remove the single shot and replace it with a grenade launcher, huh? Okay, so now, again, you've been seeing... Oh, I don't have any grenades, do I? Well then, forget the grenade launcher. Let's put the let's just put the foregrip on it. Okay, so you've been seeing a stealth-focused gameplay so far. Now we're going to be switching it up and going with just running straight in. So besides using the stealth, which is activated with E, we can hit Q to provide ourselves with some extra armor. Ha 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 ha. And providing yourself with extra armor, it is going to use up energy. You can hold it much longer than you can the stealth. Like, I can run around with my extra armor up like this, and my energy doesn't deplete nearly as fast as it does when we're playing, trying to run with stealth. But this is one of my favorite parts about this game, is that you can really play it how you want. You can play it like just a corridor shooter. It is fairly linear. There are some open-ish areas, but it is fairly linear. But you can play it like a corridor shooter, running around and shooting everyone, or you can play it super stealthy, sort of like in a Dishonored, which is kind of how I did play that game. There's a guy up there. Let's go take him out. I'm actually gonna switch here. I've got extra range on this gun. Where are you? You gonna come up? You gonna poke your head up from out of there, huh? Come on, do it. Do it. Why don't we throw a grenade up there for him? Gonna switch to G. Holding down right trigger is gonna show you the projectile. And we're gonna throw that up. There we go. Fortunately, that did miss him, but that hit. So yeah, awesome, fantastic. That's the other thing I was trying to show you there. So when you pull out your grenade with G, you hold down right trigger, and that's gonna show you kind of the trajectory, and then you throw it with left trigger. Yeah, let's go ahead and switch this up here. Take a look at what we have ahead of us. We got a guy right there, a couple guys right over here. Not gonna worry about them seeing me because we're just going in guns blazing. Now, there was a big portion of the game that I did play stealth, but I also realized that stealth takes significantly longer, and so after doing so much time with stealth, I kind of switched it up and went more for the guns blazing sort of thing. Okay, we're all set. And we do have I think there's a turret around the corner here. That's not the turret. Is that a turret? Yes, it is. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you hacking. So what I'm gonna do here is we're gonna drop the armor, we're gonna go into stealth, and then pulling up our nanovision, we can go over certain electronics such as turrets, and we can hack them. And in doing this, we're gonna be brought up this little mini game, and this is the same sort of thing you do to like hack computers in the game and stuff like that. And once we gain control of it, the object, the turret, then fights for us. We can also hack mines in the game to make it easy to go through minefields, or you can just shoot them as well. That's the other option. All right, we got some guys in here. Oh no, that's just a turret. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do this again. Drop this, pull up the nanovision, hack the turret, and we're doing this so that we can get to that weapon cache right there. All right, turret hacked, and now we've got this weapon cache, and this was a perfect opportunity now. We can take a look at the perk system. So, oops, grab that, and then this one. Okay, so that's gonna pop open, and inside of here, we have got this little nanosuit upgrade kit, which we're gonna pick up, and that's gonna give us 1 point towards our nanosuit upgrades. Now, this is important. I guess we can take the elevator here. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that right now. This is important because this is how you customize your character. This is how you customize Prophet in the single-player campaign. So I'm going to hit H here, and this is going to bring up my nanosuit upgrade. Now, I've currently got this one loadout. I've got 2 unlocks available. Now these are perks for your character. So my current perk system is focused towards stealth. I've got 50% faster cloaking, 50% scanner resistance, and highlighted enemy footprints. Now there's also a condition for it where once you meet the condition, you'll gain maximum benefit. So these 50% will turn to 75%. In fact, this one right here, the reflex boost, which gives me faster weapon reloads, aim down sights, and weapon select, I have met the condition for it. As you can see, the condition 50 of 50 is met, and that's going to increase my thing to a maximum of 33%. From that 20%. And then I also have the extended cloak, 20% longer cloak time, unlock stealth movement so I can walk without sound. That has yet to reach maximum. I do that by getting 100 out of 100 seconds remaining cloaked near enemies. And then lastly, I've got Assassin for 25% faster stealth kills and full cloak during stealth kills. So there you have it. Now, since we've sort of switched up from the whole stealth focus to more of an action focus, I'm going to spend some of my points here to get some additional stuff. So this one gives 25%. 20% faster health regeneration and critical health boost. This one gives 50% semi-automatic fire. Ooh, I like that. Let's pick up that. So I'm going to unlock this one. Yes, unlock that module. And this one is faster cloaking. What is this? Radar zoom upgrade. These ones cost... I can't get any of those because those cost too much. So I'm going to have to basically stick with that because I only have 1 point left and I don't really care about that one. This one's faster stealth kills, but I'm not really going to be doing many stealth kills, so I could get faster armor movement, extra melee protection, less armor 50% less armor protection, huh? Why don't we get that one? I'm going to unlock this one, okay? So I'm going to unlock that, and then the next thing I'm going to do is actually pull that over and save that loadout. So now I've got 2 different loadouts, so I can switch between the 2 at any time just by going like that. So you can save these like predetermined loadouts for the different perks that you get. And once more, you unlock these perks simply by getting those little nanosuit upgrade kits that you'll find throughout the world. I found a few of them, quite a few of them, on the few side missions that I have done. So that's probably one of the major benefits or major reasons why you should do side missions for those nanosuit upgrades, because I'm just going to assume the very few that I did provided me with upgrades. So yeah, okay, that guy saw me from a distance, and there does appear to be another turret. So I'm going to try to go over here and get that taken care of. Let me drop back here so I can stealth again. Obviously, trying to hack a turret while you're not stealth is going to be a terrible idea, because the turret will see you and shoot you. So I'll try to avoid doing that, and let's hack him now. Still got plenty of energy left. Now, if you miss this, check the upper right-hand corner. See that little signal thing? If I misclick it, it's going to drop that down. So there is sort of a timing associated with this. You do need to make sure that you're... Okay, we're going to run up here now. Turret's firing for me. Got a guy up here. Heck was that? Oh, Lord. Alright, so we got a turret right here. Once again, we are going to hack it. Pretty simple. Pretty simple process, but again, that upper right-hand corner, that is a timer. Check, I'll miss it twice. You'll see that drop down significantly. And if that goes all the way down, then your hacking fails. It's basically how that works. Alright, so we've taken a look at a little bit of the different combat styles that you can play this game at. I think I'm going to switch back to stealthy as we move forward here, because I wanted to show you, the next thing I want to show you is, even though this game is quite linear, it really is, even though even though this game is quite linear, they do give you portions where you have some choice in terms of how you approach a situation. So here's a perfect example. See this little grate right here, this vent? There are, I guess this is really the only way they do it, but this really reminded me of Dishonored. You know, in Dishonored you had several ways you could approach a level. While the level design is quite linear, I would say not as much so as we saw in... Not as much as you saw in Crysis 2, and definitely it's not nearly as open as you saw in the first Crysis. I'd say it's a nice mix between the two. There is some openness, but overall the general experience is relatively linear. But you know, they do give you some options like those corridors. Like, I didn't have to go through those vents. I could have stayed in there and shot them once this door basically opened up, is what we could have done there. And then there's some parts up here that I'm going to show you where it's the same thing. You do have some options in terms of how you're going to approach the situation. I just want to open this up to check what weapon is in here. So we have got a Typhoon. That's a pretty cool one, but that is not stealth focused, and I'm going to try to maintain the stealth as we go through here. So here's an example again. I could go through that vent right here, or I could just hack this and try to walk straight through. So since I'm playing stealth, going through the vent is what I would like to do. So this is where we're going to go. And actually, I'm sorry, I completely forgot. I want to change my loadout back to here. So why don't we load up the stealth-focused one? There it is. And then we can continue along our way. So yeah, the gunplay is quite enjoyable. I think we've done a good job of sort of showing you the two different types of styles that you can play this game. Between trying to be more action focused or trying to be more stealth focused, and you really do have options. Alright, let me go ahead and mark some of my targets here. A few guys, quite a few guys over there on that little area. So, you know, I could avoid these guys altogether. These guys right here on the bridge, I could completely avoid them and just go straight into there. So why don't we do that? I'm gonna go ahead and go down. We're going to drop my cloak while we are safely hidden over here. And then we are going to pick it back up. Not really much you can do with swimming. Every swimming zone that I've found, you really can't, there's nothing you can really see underwater. It just, you know, an underwater portion does exist. But alright, we're going to climb ourselves back up. And again, there's some doors up top, but instead of going through the doors, my choice is to take these vents. So a little bit of choice. It's not straight, you have to go from this corridor to this corridor. There are sections of this game, and it's primarily done through these vents. There are some more open areas as well, but it sort of like opens up it's sort of like a diamond shape is a good way to think about it. It opens up and then it closes back down to a point where's your next section. But they do try to open it up a little bit in certain areas. And I don't know if we have any guys even in here. It doesn't look like there are, so I'm just gonna drop down. Go ahead and engage my armor as you fall. It's a good way to absorb damage. And we're going to complete this objective here. Now, obviously, being a Crytek game, covering visuals, the game looks fantastic, right? I mean, that is what you expect. The original Crysis was just mind-blowing. They sort of turned things back a little bit in Crysis 2, but I think they really picked it back up here in Crysis 3. If you were to play this game on the highest settings, it is going to give even a GTX 680 a hard time on the highest settings. It's going to chug. You're probably not going to be able to maintain 60 most of the time. Based on based on reports that I've seen people say, it's going to be tough. It's really, now there's some optimization coming out for drivers and stuff, which I think is supposed to help. I think GeForce is putting out some stuff specifically for Crysis 3, but nevertheless, this is going to be a resource hog on the highest settings. Even on medium settings, it can be pretty daunting on your machine. So I think the point, I guess, of that is they've really sort of trying to go back to their roots here and making a very, very graphically intensive game. And I think we got a couple guys chilling out right here, which we can quite easily take out. And there's no one over there. So yeah, visually, game is quite impressive. There's really no question about that. It just looks absolutely fantastic. Every aspect of it, and the lighting specifically is part of the game that I've just really been thoroughly impressed with. I mean, the game's, there's even like a lens smudge if you look directly into light, as if you would expect to see, basically, so. All right, let's go ahead and swim this out here. Dropped our stealth for a minute. We're going to pick it back up as we go back in, and then we've got the second barge here. Now, in terms of the enemy AI, I've got to be completely honest. There have been some significant moments within this game where the AI has proved to be quite stupid. But to be fair, at the same time, I am playing on the normal difficulty, basically. There's 5 difficulties. I'm either playing on the second or the third. I don't quite recall, but you know, there are 5 difficulties, so maybe if we were to play on the highest difficulty, the AI would get better. I hope that's the case. I hope it's not just they soak up more points. You know, they've got a larger hit point pool. But I don't know that, to be honest with you. But there have been some pretty derpy moments in this game where there'd be AI literally just standing there. I'd throw a grenade, and they would be like, "Take cover," and they'd stand there. They wouldn't move, and they would die to the grenades. So I don't know if, again, that's because of the difficulty or it's just the AI in general. And there have been a few glitches as well. There have been moments where I've seen floating characters and things of that nature. But overall, it's definitely, I think it's been a great experience. Like I said, I finished the game. It took 5 hours, and that was with avoiding most of the side missions. So I would assume that if you were to play through the side missions, I might add another hour or 2 to the game. Just sort of different objectives. In fact, do I even have any side missions right now? Not at the moment. But yeah, there are secondary objectives, and if you were to play through those, I'm guessing that they would add a couple more hours to the game. But myself personally, it only took 5 hours to go through it. But that's also attributed to the type of gamer that I am. When I'm playing a story-based game, for better or worse, I like to blitz through it just to see it as quick as possible, and that's probably for the worse in a lot of situations, but that's just sort of my play style, so I don't know. Speaking of play styles, why don't we go back to action focused here? Switch this up. Get that, and then bring this up. Go for that loadout. All right, awesome. And I guess that's going to wrap up this basics look, guys. Hopefully you have a good idea of what this game's all about. Despite the brevity of it, I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. I would say that I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Crysis 2. The story takes some strange turns, but that's obviously just a matter of opinion. I mean, I guess it's no stranger than aliens just showing up in Crysis 2, right? So, but yeah, we're going to wrap this up here with a little bit of a cinematic exit. one of my favorite parts of this game. I just thought this was so cool visually. So thank you so much for watching this basics look of Crysis 3. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. The game is available on the 360, PS3, and PC, fully priced at $59.99. I know there's also like collector's editions available as well. The game's good, the game's fun. I would say it's overall an average shooter, but I enjoyed it nevertheless, and it looks just glorious. Thanks again for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.